Today in Grow a Garden in Roblox, I have a list of 10 things the developers could do to revitalize Grow a Garden, to bring back the original player base, to invite new players. Some of them are really easy to do, things that you could just slip into the game and all of a sudden everyone would lose their minds. Other things take a lot more work, and some of them will make some people very angry. If any of this sounds interesting to you, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button, become part of the first 300k OGs of a channel, and let's get into the video. Grow a Garden has been on a steady decline for some time, averaging between 2 and 3 million players, now averaging between 500,000 and approximately 1.2 million. Now, the game is not dead, far from it. It is still a very successful game, but it is declining. And the last thing you want to do is watch it dwindle away into nothing. So there are things the developers could do to really bring back players. And some of them are really, really easy to do. Imagine, if you will, that you are a developer of Grow a Garden, okay? And you're sitting in your control room and you have different levers that you can pull, different things you can do to revitalize the game. Some of these levers are like more like emergency do not press unless desperate buttons. And some of them are levers that are really hard to pull, but once you do pull them, it would make a really cool addition to the game. So let's talk about those. Let's talk about those 10 things. The first thing you could do if you want to revitalize the game and incentivize people to come back into the game and to play your game is to power creep some of your pets. What does that mean? Do you remember when the Zen update dropped? In the Zen update, we had this cute little dog called the Shiba Inu. And the Shiba Inu had an effect identical to the Golden Lab, but strictly better than the Golden Lab, making the Golden Lab useless in a sense. Now, this kind of power creep can be a dangerous sword. It can be a double-edged blade. If you do it too often and too frequently, people will feel that anything they acquire will not hold value for long because something better will just be down the road. But this game has pretty much never used power creep before. Let me give you two different examples of power creep. The first example of power creep, and you know what? We will use the same pet. Let's use the butterfly. The first example is to release a pet that does what the butterfly does, but faster. Instead of every 15 or 20 minutes, let's say it's every 10 minutes. That is a very easy form of power creep to understand. Much like the Shiba Inu just being faster than the Golden Lab and the Golden Lab being faster than the dog, you could have a butterfly, a new butterfly. It could be anything you want it to be that is just faster than the butterfly. That's a simple form of power creep. And that could make it interesting for players to go, oh, there's a better butterfly. I kind of want to go farm for that. But there's another type of power creep, and that is just going strictly better. Just as the dragonfly is better than the butterfly, gold is better than rainbow, you can introduce a new variant that is better than rainbow and have a new plant, or a new pet, that applies it. By making better and more powerful pets in the game, you can have players be interested in coming back to acquire those pets. We haven't had, how do I word this? We haven't had an amazing pet that people have been completely excited to acquire in some time. The closest thing in the current update, for example, is the barn owl. And the barn owl at 1.5% is now so common that it doesn't have a whole lot of value. But it is probably the most unique pet in that it does completely change the way the game plays. We haven't seen that in a while. So power creep is one option, one lever, a pretty easy one that the developers could pull to encourage players to come back and try and get the better pets. Now, this one is not, how do I word this? This is not a suggestion of something you can add to the game. This is a suggestion of something that they need to take this away from the game. Suggestion number 2, the developers could do a big red button. It's a big red button encased in a plastic cover. They pull back the plastic cover and they regrettably push this red button and they remove stealing from the game. Imagine the sense of goodwill that will bring players when the developers go, we know, we've heard you loud and clear. We have been listening. We know that many of you do not want to play in public servers because you have beautiful plants and beautiful massive fruits that you're afraid to get stolen. And because of that, the sense of community and the sense of playing together and the sense of friendship has been removed. We hear you loud and clear. We've been listening and we've decided to take the financial hit personally and remove stealing from the game. That would have profound effect on the goodwill and the feeling of people towards Grow a Garden. But that will make people feel really, really good. And it might bring back some people, but it's not exciting or hype enough to really bring back people. And let's talk about some other options. Now, if you're an OG player, you already know where I'm going, because I use the words OG player. If you're an OG player, I need you to take a personal sacrifice right here, right now, because the game that you love is dwindling and dying. And the game that you love is trending towards oblivion. And if you don't make a personal sacrifice, the game you love might no longer exist and no longer be cared about by anyone else. And you may be sitting there in this game alone by yourself. So I need you to take the hit here. I'm taking a small hit, some of you taking a bigger hit. I think another lever. This isn't a lever. This is a humongous red button that takes 2 fists. No, it is multiple red buttons that takes multiple developers to put keys into simultaneously, like a nuclear launch, and turn them all together. Because I'm talking about somehow, in some way, returning the Candy Blossom and the Bone Blossom to the game in a new cycle of acquisition. Do you remember the Summer Harvest? In the Summer Harvest, we all had to work together on a server to fulfill the requirements, and then we received rewards, and sometimes those rewards were old, long gone items. There is precedent for this. If you take a look here, these are the prize table for doing the Summer Harvest, and as you scroll down, you'll notice some things. You're going to notice things like the Twilight Crate, or the Blood Moon Crate, or the Celeste Berry Seed, the Moon Melon Seed. You're going to notice the Night Egg, because the Night Egg can contain a raccoon. You'll notice Night Seed Packs, and Blood Kiwis, and Moon Mangoes, and Moon Cats, and Chocolate Sprinklers, and Easter Egg Seeds. If you market it, Jandal jumps on TikTok, and it says, this next event is going to be hype. We're bringing back things you haven't seen in a long time. Get ready for it. And he goes on to Twitter, and he does the same thing. And he goes on to Facebook, and does the same thing. And word of mouth spreads. Oh my God, they're bringing stuff back. They're bringing back some of the OG stuff. What could it be? And then boom, we hear the information. When you do the new event, wherever that new event is, it could be the Halloween event for all we care. There is a small chance, a super small chance, that you could receive the Candy Blossom Seed or the Bone Blossom Seed. Imagine the hype. Imagine the people flocking back for a chance to acquire that seed. It would be astronomical. And to anybody who is sitting there going, no, not my Candy Blossom Seeds. They're mine. I gatekeep. They're only for me. You can go ahead and enjoy those Candy Blossom Seeds. You can enjoy them in your dead game that nobody plays or cares about. What's the point of having Candy Blossoms if there's no one to enjoy them with? So that is a very nuclear option the developers could employ at any time. If they ever feel that the game is dwindling to a point where they're like, man, things are bad. What can we do? They can always do something like that. Which kind of moves me on to point number 4. In a similar vein where the Summer Harvest brought back the Night Egg, the developers can also, within temporary events or through rotating merchants, though it's less effective, through events, they could bring back any egg they want to. They could bring back the Night Egg. They could bring back the Dino Egg, the Primal Egg. They could bring back the Zen Egg with Kitsunes in it. Much like the Summer Harvest, the developers at any point in time can slip into the rewards of any event, any old egg, any old seed pack, any old seed in general, could be a Candy Blossom, anything, to revitalize and to incentivize players to come back and try and get some of those old iconic things that they've never had access to. And point number 5, this is my last point regarding old stuff coming back. And my next points are about new stuff. The developers could easily pull a lever and bring back specific cosmetics that the general audience would greatly appreciate. And one of those, for example, is right over here, the pancake stacks. The pancake stacks are actually integral to gameplay in Grow a Garden. Look at these barn owls. They're not leaving. They're hanging out. Any pet with a proximity effect is greatly benefited by pancake stacks. And without them, certain players can't take advantage of certain strategies. So the pancake stack is actually the single most important cosmetic in this game. I think it's even more important than doing your plant achievements and unlocking an additional 100 plant slots in your inventory. Pancake stacks are super critical. As such, re-releasing them will definitely incentivize players to come back and try to acquire them. Well, those that know exactly what they do. Now we're going to talk about new stuff. Previously, a lot of those things I told you really easy to implement. It's easy to slip in candy seeds. It's easy to slip in dino eggs. But now we're going to talk about some real work the developers can do to revitalize this game and bring people back. Point number 6, the developers should really consider expanding the size of your gardens and allowing for the ability to construct a home. People love to build bases. People love to build houses. People love things like sim games, all those types of things. And allowing people a place to build a home, a place to build perhaps a stables, somewhere for their pets to sleep. You know what I mean? Have some places for your pets to interact, little fountains that they can swim in. You can add all sorts of additional mechanics to the game by allowing something like this. But what you need to focus on is the ability to redo this map, this very simple rectangle, into a larger space to allow larger gardens for every player so that they can do things like building houses and expanding upon their garden above and beyond what we have here. Imagine crafting tables. We've already seen them in the leaks. Woodworking tables, stoneworking tables, multiple crafting tables to do crafting materials, to do building blocks, to build your own house, to customize your house as you want, to build a barn for your pets, a stable, whatever you want to do, a daycare. Expanding the scope and the size of this garden and what we can do with it would take monumental effort from the developers, but would change the game so drastically that people would at least be curious to come back and see what in the world did you just add to this game. Now, point number 7 is really cool. And I got inspiration while playing that new game that Jan was also working on simultaneously, by the way. He's not quitting Grow a Garden. He's working on both. He has the time. It's the other game, Plants vs. Brain Rots. There's one mechanic in there that I was like, imagine this in Grow a Garden. And it would be really cool. If you look right here, take a look. If you look, this unit, this defensive unit in Plants vs. Brain Rots has the frozen mutation. A plant with a frozen mutation, not a fruit, a plant. How can you do this? It's really easy. While you're playing Plants vs. Brain Rots, when a winter weather effect occurs and lasts for 15 minutes, if you plant a seed while the winter effect is in effect, the seed has a chance to bloom and grow into a frozen version of the plant. How could you apply that to Grow a Garden? Think about the possibilities. Now, the amount of work the developers would have to do to prepare for this is mind-blowing. It's not as simple as our current system where the fruits change colors and get some ice on them. I'm talking about the plants. Imagine, if you will, if you had a chance during the black hole admin abuse event, if you had a chance, every time you planted something, put a seed into the ground while black hole was active, there was a small chance that one of those plants would become a black hole plant. And let's say it's a coconut tree. Walk up to this coconut tree. Instead of the brown trunk, you see a black hole trunk with a purple outline. It almost seems like things are being sucked into the trunk. Imagine if you planted something during, I don't know, the volcano event and had a chance to come out molten. And instead, this blueberry bush is a molten lava-looking blueberry bush and heat waves are coming off of it. That is another layer of customization to your garden that could be possible, but would require the developers to put in an extraordinary amount of work to make it so that each and every single plant in this game, and there are lots of them, can be modified by each and every mutation in the game, and there are tons of weather effects. Now, if I was the developers, I'd slow roll it. I would say in this update, by the way, all the plants can now get the frozen mutation. And then maybe in another update down the road, they put in some more work, and now all plants can get the molten mutation. But allowing plants to be mutated to allow additional customization, and what those can do to fruits that grow, I don't know. Figure that one out. I mean, easily, if I had a molten blueberry bush, maybe had a higher percent chance of having molten blueberries grow, that's kind of cool. But what if a molten blueberry bush made fruits grow faster from the heat, specific fruits? I don't know how you can have these different plant modifiers affect the fruit. The simplest one is to apply that mutation more often, or if not guaranteed. Make the blueberries guaranteed to grow molten blueberries with a molten plant. I'm cool with that. Do that. That sounds great. But including plant mutations is just another layer of this game that you could do. Takes a lot of work, but it is something kind of cool. Moving on to point number 8. This one's cool. I think I had this idea weeks ago, but ever since the fairy event, it just cemented the concept in my mind. Point number 8. We need a trading world or a trading server. We need a place that we can go to and enter, and it can be filled with 10, 20 people, as many people as you want to balance based off of server mechanics. And it should be a place where if you're in that world, you're there to trade. And everyone is there to trade. And it's super obvious. During the fairy event, we can jump into the fairy portal and go to a whole new world. That cemented that the developers know how that technology works. They can do it. They have the technology. They have the know-how and they have the knowledge. So give me a portal right here beside pet mutations. And it says trading over top. And you go to it and you come to a circular map. You can decorate it however you want. You can design it however you want. But in there, chat bubbles are enabled and everybody is trying to trade. And it gives people another means of doing trades and not have them go to Discord servers or using websites or other things. That could be a really cool update. I think a lot of people will be very hyped about that one. Now, point number 9 is something that is already in the game files. You know it, developers. We've seen it. We've seen the data. We've data mined the leaks. We know it's there. Seed trading is available in the game. You just have to turn it on. And seed trading is only tip of the iceberg. I think if you're not going to give us pancake stacks, and if you're not going to give us candy blossoms, you should turn on seed trading and cosmetic trading. Even above and beyond pancake stacks, there are particular cosmetics I would kill to get a lot more of. For example, I personally want, I don't know, maybe 50 of these from the dino crates. I only have 4. I want so many more. I want to build Alcatraz. I want to build a jail cell for my garden. I think that would just be so crazy. And the only way I can acquire those with any consistency is with cosmetic trading. If you have a massive announcement and it's seed trading and it's cosmetic trading, let's think about seed trading. How many OG players sitting on moon blossoms, candy blossoms, Venus flytraps, all of these bone blossoms, etc., are sitting on them and haven't played in weeks or a month, and all of a sudden go, oh, wait a minute, I can trade those old seeds in my garden. I can get raccoons and red kitsunes and other things. And seed trading is such an easy lever to pull. It's well oiled. It's well greased. It's so easy to pull because it's already in the game files. Boxing up seeds, it's already there. Just push the lever like that. Turns on, ready to go. It's such an easy addition and it's such a quick way to create hype and bring back players. Point number 10, I left at the end for a reason, because if you've made it this far, you're part of Watch Squad. And if you're part of Watch Squad, comment down below and let me know you're part of Watch Squad. Point number 10 is the perfect moment in time to institute and to put into the game any of these things I've talked about, because it's a hype moment in time. And that is the Halloween update. If I were the developers, I would make a 3, even 4 week long Halloween update that grows and grows every week. First week of October, little bit of change to the map. Second week, third week, fourth week, escalate the Halloween update into a crazy final week Halloween update. The changes you can make to the map week after week for a Halloween update would be hype, and people love Halloween themed things. Believe me, I've played so many games with the Halloween updates. Were always the most hype updates. RuneScape back in the day, Team Fortress 2, the Halloween cosmetics were always the best. The Halloween unusual effects were always the best. People love Halloween. So this is the perfect time to start to institute anything, any other piece I mentioned in this entire video and release it around Halloween. You want to reintroduce the candy blossom, or a small, it can be as small as you want, a super small chance at acquiring the candy blossom during Halloween where candy is everything. Perfect timing. You want to reintroduce the bone blossom. You want to reintroduce certain dino eggs and stuff. You want to allow people to be dressed up as the red kitsune or dressed up as a raccoon or a dinosaur. You want to introduce any of these mechanics, do it during Halloween. Because Halloween updates are huge. You have a window here, developers. You have a window. You have a window of opportunity to do something drastically amazing to revitalize this game. And it's coming up in October. So hopefully you guys listen to my video. And viewers, Watch Squad, if you're still here and you have any suggestions, Comment down below. The developers do read these videos. Hopefully you found this video useful. Hopefully you found it valuable. If you did, go ahead and hit subscribe. Become part of the first 300K OGs on the channel. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching.